Welcome back to the program. We now want to just look at what is making headlines, the different dailies that you're holding for you this Thursday morning. And I start you off with a copy of the People Daily, just looking at what is currently happening in Nairobi in respect to the Expressway. This is actually the main read in this daily. Inside the new plan to tame crashes on the Expressway. Now, following the recent accidents that have occurred in that particular route, the state has now rolled out a raft of measures to arrest that. And I just want to run you through some of them. And actually, this takes effect as soon as they released this. Now, in this new move to arrest the accidents along the Expressway, the government has unveiled a raft of the new measures, as I've said, and this takes effect immediately. They include deployment of traffic officers to enforce compliance of speed limits and temporary restriction of commercial vehicles from using the highway. So this means not just the matatus, so to speak, but entirely commercial vehicles, particularly those with more than 7 passengers. This have been banned from using the Expressway temporarily. And also motorists using the Expressway found moving at more than 110 kilometers per hour will face a fine of 100,000. Yes, more than also yesterday we established that if you destroy anything, particularly the traffic lights, you'll part away with at least around 400,000 just for destroying that, amongst the other things that you destroy if an accident occurs along the expressway. So that also, this adds to what was already established there by the state. Now, away from the Expressway, coming to matters elections, the question right now is that, is IEBC ready? Pressure now piles on the IEBC chairman, that is Wafula Chebukati, and this is in respect to the voter register, ballot papers, as well as the court cases. Obviously, when it comes to the voter register, the question is that will it be digital or manual? Remember that also when IEBC was meeting the 4 presidential candidates, this is some of the things that they had said they will address, given the fact that one faction had said that this was one of their biggest concern. But as it seems, IEBC has been slow in response to this. And again, as Miola Moja has said, that if there's no manual register, then there is no election. But again, the biggest question is that, is it just a question of really wanting the manual register as an alternative, or is it that we do not really trust our systems? Again, the other issue that is coming out is the ballot papers, given the fact that news has it that, the IEBC has started printing the ballot papers, and this also followed the gazettements of those that were mentioned or were said to be candidates. This again comes at a time whereby the High Court has now said that it was unconstitutional for IEBC to require candidates to submit the 48,000 signatures. Again, the independent aspirants are saying that they're giving IEBC 7 days for their names to be on the ballot. So again, the question is, if at all IEBC has started printing the ballot papers and independent candidates are saying they want their names to be on the ballot, then what really will IEBC do, given the fact that they've already begun printing ballot papers? Again, that's an issue that also IEBC is dealing with. And the last thing that they're also dealing with is that we're just 32 days to the polls. Some petitions are yet to be heard, starting with the civil society, the one that they had filed in respect to the digital and manual register. Also, the other cases include the Sonko case, which the hearing started yesterday. This was in respect to the issues that had been surrounding his gubernatorial bid, as well as the Sakaja case. So these are just some of the things that, IEBC is dealing with as we are just 32 days to the polls. The question is, how are they going to address these issues, given the fact that they are also very key and pertinent issues? And lastly, 200 million shillings set aside to ensure peaceful transition of a presidency, whereby taxpayers are set to cough out millions of shillings just to ensure the nation's 5th leader takes over without financial constraints. And also this amount has been provided in this financial year, that is the 2020 to 2023 budget. Jane.
Now, let's pick it up from that point concerning the IEBC and the story that has been featured here on the Daily Nation. Questions around why IEBC is being so closed about details revolving around the preparation for this year's general elections that are just but 32 days away. So many concerns have been raised by different parties, starting off with, of course, the 2 main presidential candidates, Raila Odinga and the Deputy President William Ruto, where Raila Odinga actually said that the move by IEBC to keep critical information such a secret is slowly pushing the country back to 2017, looking at the chaos that occurred that led to the repetition of the elections. However, other political players are now mounting pressure on IEBC over this cloud of secrecy that they are having in regards to their lack of transparency when it comes to the questions around their preparedness to run these general elections, saying that vital information needs to be made public, and this included the audit report of the register of voters and also the party list that contains the political party nominees that nominees to the Senate, as well as the county and national assemblies. And also looking at the KPMG report that was presented to the IEBC chairman, Wafula Chebukati, they identified some 246,465 dead voters that were still on the list, as well as more than 480,000 voters whose names had appeared more than once. This, of course, going further on to shake the confidence that the people have when it comes to IEBC managing these general elections. And on the other hand, the ripple effects from the judgment that was made the day before yesterday concerning presidential aspirants. Now Kagame and Okot are calling on Chebukati to resign, saying that he's incapable, and they are now calling for his resignation as the only way forward. Mr. Kagame went on to say that he praised the decision by the High Court, and he went on to say that Mr. Chebukati is discriminating against people living with disabilities because he had presented the copies, but the chair refused to look at them. Okot also called for the printing of presidential ballot papers to be suspended. So that is where IEBC woes are as this morning. Elsewhere, the whole question on the prices of cooking gas. So high gas prices continue despite the tax cuts. Looking at the new Finance Act of 2022 that cut VAT by half from 16% to 8%. However, from a spot check that was conducted by this particular daily, it showed that many retailers are yet to cut down the prices, with most refills for the 6 kg cylinder ranging from 1,500 to 1,700, and the 13 kg cylinder anywhere from 3,000 to 3,800. The prices are yet to go down. Coming to the main read, exposed, name behind poll lies. So politicians are financing a flurry of falsehoods and distortions that are aimed at winning them backing in this year's election. And according to an investigation that was conducted by this particular daily, which involved an analysis of thousands of Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook posts, it shows that there are raising concerns about the pervasive use of propaganda, manipulation, trolls, and disinformation to influence the masses. And there are also questions around these polls that are conducted by these research entities, their credibility, and just how genuine are they. That is what has been featured here on the Daily Nation. Mike.
Yes, and on the start, the main headline is why IEBC chiefs are under siege, and the IEBC bosses have come under scrutiny amid claims that the agency has been infiltrated by politicians. This has reportedly triggered divisions among the commissioners, similar to the acrimony that rocked the agency in 2017, just a day after the Azimio team linked Senator Moses Wetangula to the ballot printing tender. Fresh claims have emerged that some insiders could be holding brief for the political elite still on politics. The use of manual register or no elections, that's what Raila, the Azimia leader, Raila Odinga, is telling the IEBC. Now, Raila Odinga has reaffirmed his stance that the manual voter registers must be used in the August polls. IEBC has planned not to use the printed registers on polling day, saying they would create an avenue for electoral malpractices. But speaking yesterday in Gatundu, Raila said that they will not compromise on their demand for the commission to provide manual registers as a complementary method of voter identification should the electronic kits fail on polling day. Moving on to matters finance, how aborted 115 billion shillings Eurobond plunged Treasury into cash crunch. Kenya's move to cancel 150 billion shillings Eurobond has plunged the government into a cash crunch, with the Treasury unable to fund several exchequer requests. The requests from the national government agencies and counties amounting to 90.3 billion shillings were unfunded by the close of 2021-2022 financial year on June 3rd. They include 60.7 billion shillings requests from the national government agencies and June allocation due to counties amounting to 29.6 billion shillings. On to matters health, still on the front page of the Star is matters PET scans, and Harish Ngaraj, the specialist doctor for nuclear medicine, is suggesting that we should allow at least 3 PET scans. This is a message to NHIF, and of course the call comes after the fund increased reimbursements to hospitals by 12% and rolled out new contracts. The fund has been paying about 40,000 shillings for the PET scans once a year at the Aga Khan Hospital, Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital, and Our Lady of Lourdes Mutumo Mission Hospital in Kitui. However, Dr. Ngaraj heads the Department of Nuclear Medicine, and he's suggesting that at least 3 scans are ideal for cancer patients. So more on that later on. Ray?
Now, sneak peek of the Standard this morning is all about matters politics and a keen focus to the utterances made by Azimio leader, that is Raila Odinga, who has alleged a plot to use electronic voting system to sneak 200 ballot papers in each of the 10,000 polling stations, and he demands a manual register. Just but a sneak peek of what the Azimio La Umoja One Kenya Alliance presidential flag bearer has to say in regard to that is that there will be no elections without a manual voter register. Raila says opponents plan to steal 2 million votes, and he wants the IEBC to have a manual register along with the biometric identification of voters. Quoted in this particular article, he says Kenyans need leaders who will genuinely fight corruption and restore the country to the status of an investment hub in Africa. Now, that has continued to pile up pressure in as far as the IEBC is concerned. It is staring at a nightmare of ballot paper delay due to the judge's ruling. Now, the court has ordered IEBC not to print ballot papers in the Mombasa governorship race, and this has raised a lot of eyebrows in regard to the state of preparedness. We just have 32 days to the August 9 polls, and the Greek firm that is supplying these particular ballot papers has been somewhat in part of a situation that took place in 2019 in Nigeria, where the electoral body in Nigeria had to delay its elections over logistical issues, and this was a delay in being in receipt of those particular documents. And some leaders have come out and said that, are we looking at a similar situation in regard to where we are? This particular firm I'm talking about is known as Lycos, that is set to deliver Kenya's ballot papers. However, IEBC has maintained that the reason why there was that delay in Nigeria is that the Nigeria Electoral Board there resorted to using Lycos as last minute as their prior supplier delayed. So that was just a knee-jerk reaction to the situation that they found, and that they have everything in place. However, the question now about the court ruling is a nightmare, so to speak. Other than that, there are issues that are keeping the IEBC commissioners awake, and one has to be the claim by Azimio Secretary General Junet Mohammed on an alleged link between rival Kenya Kwanza Alliance and Lycos, as well as an insistence that IEBC must facilitate a trip to Europe by political party representatives to inspect the printing of the ballot papers. Remember, if you look at the repeat polls of 2017, the question of the security features in Form 34A and 34B as well as 34C were very crucial in the arguments that were presented there in the nullified elections, though lawyers, among them Paul Muite, insisted that the law did not require that this actually have security features. So we'll be keeping tabs on which direction the IEBC takes in the situation it finds itself in. Clearly not a place would wish any of us were, because, well, 32 days to go is such a short time, but we hope that you're going to have fair and transparent elections come August 9th. So away from matters politics, it is Saba Saba. What do you remember or recall of the Saba Saba? That is the conversation that has taken center stage here on this particular daily. Mwakenya founders on life under oppression. Now, as the country marks the Saba Saba Day, the young men who pushed for change using what the state branded as seditious literature speak on what drove them into advocating for change and how they managed to clandestinely events and led to the death of the movement. Well, a bit of history today. It is Saba Saba Day. The second liberation veterans Ngodho, Wakarioki, Kamonye, Manje, and Kiongo Minor have been featured in this particular paper, so you can get a copy. Now, in matters security, a boy is being held as a village reels from cold blood murder of family members. It is said that the police are holding a teenager who is believed to have hacked his aunt and her 3 children, including an unborn baby, in a fit of anger in Transmara, Narok County. Security officials maintain that the 17-year-old boy twisted the necks of the 2 children, aged 5 and 10, and then rolled the bodies down a hill to make it look like an accident. He's currently being held in Narok as investigations continue. And across the globe, just to mention what is happening in Britain, is that Boris Johnson has vowed to stay in office despite the resignation of 2 top cabinet ministers and a slew of junior officers. Will he survive? Well, we'll be keeping tabs on what is happening in Britain there. That puts a cap on matters in the headlines right here on KBC Channel 1. I wish you a great day ahead and some spectacular viewing. Remember, Thursday is a new Friday, so my colleagues will take you through the broadcast. Thank you very much for your time.